Dean and Levi finally catch up to Mac and Ziggy and save them from an impending inferno. Rose bids farewell to the bay, leaving Cash to handle the River Boys' resurgence alone. Rue discovers the contents of Eliza's box, and Theo fools around with trouble.
Hold me in your arms, don't let me go. I want to stay forever, closer each day, home and away.
See you soon, mate.
It's mate now, is it? It was snake earlier, wasn't it?
Well, usually it's mouse. But you should hear what your mum calls him.
How much money did he owe you?
Well, that hit to the headmaster done a number on you, officer, because I don't recall any of that.
You know, I hear there's a ton of money exchanging hands in illegal street racing these days.
And you should definitely do something about that then.
We are.
Really?
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like you lot are doing your job very well then.
Really? You know the River Boys are involved?
Well, we know who you are and why you're obsessed with us.
Is that right?
You don't like the River Boys dating your sister. How's she doing these days anyway?
We are Si and Sophie. This is Coastal News, a home and away podcast. Your weekly episode companion podcast for your favourite Aussie soap.
Right, so do you fancy a piece of Leah's baklava?
Pardon me? Come again?
That's what she said.
Not really. Not really. No.
No.
I don't know what it is. Don't know what it is, if I'm honest. I've never had it, and yeah.
Have you never had baklava?
No, I haven't. What is it?
Oh, how do I describe this?
Oh God, is it cakey or is it savoury?
It's like a pastry. It's sweet. It's like a pastry or something. Like it's like wheaty and it's like honey and nuts.
Oh,
It's like
okay.
it's like a Middle Eastern thing, isn't it? Like a Turkish thing.
Oh, I'm not very
Greek, obviously.
Not very cultured, doll, am I?
Yeah. Oh well, we'll have to get that on the list next time we're on a trip that isn't cancelled.
Oh God, I got a chance. Oh dear.
I don't much like it, but I'll endure for you.
I'll try anything
Okay.
once. Yeah. why
Yeah,
not?
same, including Leah's baklava. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you doing?
Yes. All right, thanks. Hey, we've had a busy old week in the
Yes.
Bay.
Yes.
Lots to go on and talk about this week.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try not to slip in and out of the old Cockney accent, like
and
Abs.
unlike Abby, who's gone very Winehouse this week. A lot of hot sauce. Yeah. What was that? What was that about?
Don't talk to me. I don't.
I had to
don't
get a
know.
clip
But
of it. I sent it to you, and then I put it
Yeah.
I put it on our social medias as well. I was like, "What is this accent?" It's just, and that's not the first time I've heard her do it as well. I've heard her do it before, but before that, I thought it was my ears because I'm old.
I don't know. I was a little bit like, well, because it seems a bit like it's a bit out of order. But then I think, every week I'm sitting here and go, "Where's my knife?" So I thought I can't really talk, can I? Ever since today's episode, I've been walking around the house going, "Where's my knife?"
Yeah,
Trying to
be
butter
fair.
some toast.
To be fair, though, your accent is better. Let's be honest. More accurate, I think.
My Aussie accent, oh God,
Yeah. I think your Aussie accent is better than the and a lot of hot sauce.
no. I'll take that because my accent is dreadful, and I'm sure I offend many a people with it. But yeah,
It's fine. It's fine.
fun times.
All
So
in love.
exactly, yeah, that's what we're doing this for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love. Certainly not fame and money.
Definitely not. I'm paying for my wine with pennies, doll.
Oh God, that one advert for the house viewing or something.
Yes, the one paid advert we've had on the pod, and I got it.
No, I had one, didn't I? About the
Oh yeah.
They are. I mean, it tells me people out there do get one every now and then. So,
It's me. I
but
get them.
we shan't be retiring.
No, definitely not. Oh, dear.
But yeah, we've got a lot in the spirit of sort of getting through a lot of things. Let's get on with it.
Yeah.
A lot of things, a lot of hot sauce.
Not hot sauce, hash brown. Oh dear.
Shall we talk about this week's home and away?
Yes, go on.
Let's do it. So Dean's working out at the top of the week that the geezer in the car is planning on killing his wife. It's not. But they're not married, are they? It's Mrs. Ziggy.
Mrs. Yeah, they might as well be.
And his sister. Yeah. Now, he is so much more switched on with this sort of thing than Levi, and I quite enjoyed watching it. I think they make a really good double act. You know, I really grew to like their time in the car and their endurance with each other. Because I thought they made a good double act, and I found them quite entertaining. Yeah, good. And they suddenly find Dean's car abandoned, don't they? Nearly puts Levi through the windscreen, breaking. Doors are open. There's no Mac and Ziggy, and there's just fuel everywhere. It's been siphoned out of the tank, and he looks like he has tied Ziggy and Mac up in this grain field, and he's going to light it on fire, and along with it, the entire state of Queensland, probably. And I was a bit like, has this guy thought this plan through?
No.
One way to attract attention to yourself is to burn down all half the country. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Very warm climate, wasn't it? That thing would go up in an instant. I guess it would barbecue your hostages, but also it would attract a lot of attention to you.
Yeah.
So I don't think he thought of it. Dean rugby tackles him anyway, stops him from lighting it. Danger over. They run through the long grass to find their loves. And Levi's like, now can we call the police? And he ends up, Levi, doesn't he, taking responsibility for this because Dean's obviously got previous. It's not looking good. The police are like, you stole a car. You did all this thing. You've broken a number of laws today, Dean, and you've got previous. Doesn't look good. So Levi takes the fall for it, and the police just go, okay, case closed. No more to be said on the matter. Bit weird, that.
Very weird. And like Dean, and when they were having that conversation on the balcony later, I was thinking, if they ask him how he did it, he's going to have absolutely no chance of being able to describe how to I haven't got a clue how to hotwire a car, and I'm sure Levi knows about as much about it as I do. So it wasn't a very smart cover story, was it? Because it could have been easily unpicked, but obviously I think the couples just couldn't be bothered to dispute it.
Yes, it's not just Yabby Creek.
Yes.
With the police force. I thought it was also telling that the police knew him. I thought, well, he's obviously been causing trouble up there in his time up there because they know. I don't.
Yeah, they could have pulled his rap sheet though. I guess he's got a record, and they will be able. If they put his name in the system, he will come up, won't he?
I don't know. I've seen Netflix, and if it's anything like America, the states don't talk to each other.
I think that is America, but yeah. I mean, the fact that his tattoos disappeared didn't even give them a clue. Were the River Boys known in Queensland? And if they are, would they have recognised the blood and sand tat? You know what I mean? So I don't know.
He's probably on their watch list, isn't he?
What's the equivalent of the FBI in Australia? It's probably on that list. Yeah.
Yeah. Just keeping tabs every now and then.
Yeah.
So anyway, it all ends well. They crack open a beer, as you say. He says, "Oh God, if they started probing me about outwiring this car, I wouldn't have known what to do." And Dean's at it. I'll have to show you sometime. Like it's okay. He's been accepted in finally to the family. I tell you that. I'll tell you really quick. Anecdotal story from IRL. When we were children, our car got stolen from a car park in town. Right, a few days before Christmas. Single parent, no car. Right,
sucks.
And my mum gets a phone call from the police saying that they found the car dumped on a multi-story car park in Manchester, and we had to go and collect it. On Christmas Eve, this was, right? So just used it to get to town, basically, and dumped it. So we trek in on the tram. No, it would have been train then. The tram wouldn't have come up here back then. And gets to town, up and down this multi-story, finally find the car. Oh, Christmas Eve is also my brother's birthday. We spent his birthday doing this. We get to it, and it's been hot-wired, car, so it's just wires everywhere. So my mum rang the detective and was like, I don't know how to hotwire a car. Like, it won't work. Like, what do you expect me to do? So they were just like, well, if you can't move it, there's nothing we can do. Then it got stolen again. Because it was left in this car park in town. So it got stolen again.
And it's already been pre-hot-wired, so I'm guessing you can just go,
Yeah, it was wide open. Yeah. And then it was found torched somewhere on the second occasion. Yeah. Then there was like a big insurance thing. Because it wasn't collected. Yeah.
What a nightmare. Actual nightmare.
Yeah. So we could have done with Dean back then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that would have helped.
Hot wiring the old Vauxhall Nova, whatever it was. Back in day.
Had anybody had an accident on the front seat?
No, not that I remembered. I would remember that. Let me tell you.
You would, wouldn't you? Yes, you would. No.
Done an opera house in the driver's seat. God.
Some people do, doll. Some people do.
I know. I have heard. Right, later in the week, Levi and Mac, they're back in the bay, and Mac's all being quiet. Levi's concerned about it. She keeps saying, I'm fine, I want to move on, don't want to talk about it. He's ultimately really, really worried about sort of the effects of this kidnapping on her. I mean, she did endure quite a bit of a, in that back seat with that guy wrapped all over her, and he was making advances. I was quite uncomfortable at times watching it.
Yeah.
And obviously she's not really telling him the full. We've not seen her tell him that level of detail. So I was sort of going that way in my mind, thinking, she actually had to put up with quite a bit in that back seat with that bloke all over her. Did you pick up that vibe as well, or was I reading way too much into it?
I think as a woman, you kind of think about that anyway. You know what I mean? When you're alone with a bloke like that, you feel vulnerable. You don't know whether he's going to hit you, kill you, or attack you, or what. So I think, and because we didn't see a lot of the time sort of lapsed, didn't it, from the point of view when the other bloke, I can't remember his name now, rolled out the car. And then we didn't see them at all get into the field, or how they got into the middle of the cornfield, how they got tied to that tractor thing. Anything could have happened in between. He could have took Ziggy off first, tied her up, and come back and done something to Mac. We don't know.
Yeah.
Or done something to both of them. We haven't got a clue. I mean, to be honest, your mind kind of goes there naturally as a woman.
As a woman, that's interesting. Yeah, interesting. I'm proud of myself for seeing it then, as a non-woman, because I mean, there was a blatant moment where she was like, "Keep your hands off me" and things, and I thought, it was a little bit obvious at times, but I was a bit concerned for in that backseat. Something Ziggy didn't have to worry about because she was driving, so she couldn't be interfered with as much against her will. So I thought, Levi being worried about the effects of what's happened to her and what she's not sharing, I thought were quite realistic, actually, when they get back to the bay. And ultimately, she's refusing to talk to him, and he goes to Tane and says, have a word, she might open up to you. So he goes round to see her, and it turns out that the whole trip's got a broody, and that's what it is, which absolutely bowled me over. And we shared some thoughts together, didn't we? As this episode went out this week, because I think we were both a little bit taken aback by this. Not only because, what's just gone on, but also Mac's not really been in this, in this place before. In fact, I was a bit like, can she have kids? I seem to remember there being something about that. She definitely had a heart condition, so that's something
Well,
to consider.
somebody on, I think it was Nina on Twitter. I'm sure I've got a comment for You'll Send the Bay later, but I'm sure Nina said she thought that she couldn't have kids anymore because she was pregnant with Ari's baby. Do you remember?
Yeah, yeah.
And something
there was a problem.
happened. Yeah, there was some kind of issue, and I can't remember how she lost the baby, but I'm sure there was like a medical reason, and it was like, I don't know, some kind of question mark over whether she could have kids in the future. That's how I remember it, but I haven't had a chance to go back and look and fact check that.
Yeah. It definitely is. It was definitely something that was made a deal of, because I remember it as well. But but the details are sketchy, and because it wouldn't have been front and center of the show, it would have been the B story, wouldn't it? Do you know what I mean? But unless that is something that is then going to be explored here. You know, she's now really wants it, but the body's against it. I don't know. You and I were sharing thoughts about there being two baby plots here that seemed really similar, which seems like a misstep if that's where we end up.
Yeah.
We've got Tane and Harper. One wants, one doesn't. Off the back of Felicity and him, one wanting, one doesn't. And then we know Levi didn't want to start a family with Imogen. That was a bit of a red line. And when she's finally told him in today's episode, you know, she's blurted it out in the soapy way. And he's asked to sleep on it and sort of tells her not to rush into it. Let's just take our time. Let's let the dust settle. He's not really sounding too enthusiastic about it. Would we really have a third plot involving a baby, one wanting it, one not wanting it? It was an interesting discussion you and I had, wasn't it? Thinking, would they really do this to us again?
Yeah, exactly. It's too quick after the last time. And also, it made me wonder whether this is just a flash in the pan thing, because can we really have two of those plots? Or is she going to say, do you know what, I did just jump on it too quickly. We've been together a year. We haven't had this conversation. We haven't even had a conversation about the future and what we think that looks like. And I don't know. Is it just going to go away as quickly as it's been brought up again? I'm not sure.
With any luck.
Well, yeah. And I haven't heard any spoilers. And that's not me asking for them. Please don't tell me any spoilers. But I would have thought if this was big news at Australia pace, it was one of those things that's kind of hard to avoid. If you know what I mean?
Some of the big spoilers like that do
do
come into your peripheral, don't they?
I don't know.
Yeah, and we've heard, and we were really taken aback. Or just a wild card, like, given the reproductive hazy memory we've got of a story about that, you know, is it more of a they'll adopt / foster, need to speak to Rube, she's having a horrendous time, you know?
Yeah.
Is it that kind of thing? But she definitely sort of, I want to start a family with you. When she told Levi, it was a definite sort of seemed, you know, natural, what she was suggesting. So who knows? We'll see where it goes, I guess. But I'm not thrilled. I'm going to be honest. I'm not thrilled.
No,
at the
I'm
prospect.
not excited about, because I'm not excited about the current baby storyline we've got going. So the idea of another one, honestly, no, I'm not excited. Even if it is Mac, you know what I mean. It's just not it's not a storyline I want to see again yet.
Yeah.
Or ever. I'll be honest. But there we go. I don't think I'm that lucky.
Yeah, not on soaps, I'm afraid.
No, exactly. Yeah.
Rose is still leaving. And
I feel bad. Bless her. Oh, bless her. You take your time, love. You take your time.
I don't know where your love for her has suddenly come from. We've slagged her off for years.
I've only slagged her off because they've not done anything with her. I've not slagged. I don't hate Rose as a character. I just think they didn't do anything with her, so she wasn't exciting enough, or didn't get the storylines. And I think that's a shame, because they could have, especially now the cast feels quite small. I think it's an opportunity to do something with her, but they didn't. So
we believe you. Many wouldn't. The recordings are out there.
don't hate her.
Kirby tells her not to smoke bomb Marley and go and talk to him. I mean, I've never heard that expression
No, me
like
neither.
in that way. So that must be like surprising or blindsiding or something, smoke bombing someone.
A smoke bomb used to be a medical thing years ago.
Did it?
I mean, yeah, years and years ago. Like we're talking old medicine. The smoke bomb. It was like I don't know, like a thing for the flu or something that you'd let off when you breathe it in.
Like smoke it out, yeah.
Yeah, there was like a
Mm.
huge legal case about a carbolic smoke bomb that I remember doing in law school. But there we go.
Riveting. Save it for another pod.
Well, I've never heard it in that context.
No, yeah, I hadn't, to be honest. That's why I had to write it down. So she does go to Marley and says to him, I've got to say bye, I'm off. They go for this walk and talk on the beach. Now, I didn't know I needed this scene, but once I had it and I had time to reflect on it, I quite enjoyed it. And I'm actually glad, whatever you think about their relationship and how forced it felt and it just didn't work, we definitely said a lot about them just not feeling right and it just not being it, didn't we? Over the last couple of years. It was nice that they sort of acknowledged that they weren't meant for each other in this scene, and it was like they were reflecting on it like we've had chance to do. I even liked the fact that he made a little joke about his dancing. And I thought, we joke about the dancing all the time.
And is it because he's going off to do Dancing with the Stars soon? Or was that
maybe
too far away for that to be?
I don't know. They might have known at that point, maybe.
Yeah.
Because this would have been like filmed autumn time. Because
he's done it already, hasn't he? But we haven't seen him disappear. Because he must be going off screen soon to go and do that. But
yeah, I think they pre-record it, don't they?
Yeah. Yeah. Can't remember.
He's done it, but it's not on air, I don't think. But also, it harks back to his early days when he arrived and he did that hen do and he did the whirling dervish. And she liked what she saw. So it was a scene that I thought, I'm glad as two characters they've managed to sort of at the end they got that scene of sort of look, we weren't right, we weren't perfect. But I care for you and I wish you well. And I was happy we got it in the end. I didn't know I needed it.
Closure.
Yeah, exactly. And the next morning, Rose is driving out of town. She's stopped in the road by Irene, Brie and Kirby with a cake and a hug. And off she goes into the sunset. Ta-ta, Rose. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a better leaving than Xander got. Let's put it that way, because we have to compare them side by side because they are siblings, and we've only just lost Xander, so it's hard not to compare the two. And his was awful in comparison. She at least got to say goodbye to people and do a little farewell tour of the bay and say things and have conversation with people on screen, whereas Dana and him had this conversation off screen that we never saw and all that sort of stuff. So
yeah,
it's better than that. But just as she's not been used and not had storylines of her own on the show, her farewell storyline again felt a bit flat, really.
Yeah, we're just sort of driving off into the up the road and driving out. And actually, by the end of the week, I'd forgotten about her. I must admit, I moved on. And I know this show is really good at doing that. It is really good at ripping your heart out and then just moving on. I've stood by that for years. Even like real big hitter characters that I'm thinking back to like Sally's exit now, and I was utterly broken. It was a huge. In fact, you could argue that was the massive turning point for the show. And we can debate that for hours on another day about sort of the changes in the show. But I think it's that was one of those pivotal moments in the show's history that sort of changed the course of the show, in my opinion. Sally leaving, but by the next week we were moving on. There was a body washing up in the bay and we were intrigued in that. This show is so good at just it's really good at the deaths and the exits and the heart-wrenching stuff, but by a week or two later we have moved on.
Yeah.
and we're on to the next thing, and it's something that's always done really well. And by Friday, I Rose who,
Yeah.
you know,
I mean, even recently when Irene was in rehab, we were devastated when she went. And then, for a couple of weeks, it was weird because it was like, oh, where's Irene? Oh, no, she's in rehab and will she ever come home? And then we just got used to it, didn't we? And then it was like, oh,
yeah,
yeah, Irene. Gosh.
yeah. Yeah,
So,
it's really good. It's really good at sort of
yeah,
just getting cracking on with the next thing, isn't it?
yeah,
There's always something round the corner.
yeah.
Doesn't tend to dwell too often, and I think it helps you build resilience to some of the characters' exits, I think.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So she's gone, and Cash has been left then. He's got his job back, and he's been left in the right lurch down at YCPD because the phone's ringing. There's a huge fight at the surf club. Now, this was a choice because
Mm,
this was how the River Boys sort of started in the way back. Huge brawl. No, this is literally the same scene,
mm,
just different heads. Do you remember the
mm.
Braxtons and all them like, having a
Yeah.
fight and all that stuff? They even did it when Dean arrived. There was a big brawl on the beach, and it was
Oh,
Colby. Colby was
yeah.
and then he recognised him, and you know, this is a common. The River Boys are back in town and they're going to run amok, and this is the difference. I think why this River Boy
Mm.
period feels different to the Timu River Boy period last year, because we're getting things we recognise. They're in the bay,
Mm,
they're in and amongst the people we know. I mean, poor Cash gets chinned during this brawl.
mm.
Eden's there; she's involved. Breaking it up and this was for me. That's an indication that this has got a bit of legs in it.
Yes. It's more dangerous than what we had last year. Last year was,
Mm,
like I said last week, I'm not going to go on about it, but just a bit juvenile, just sitting on a car bonnet watching the police station and, you know, sort of goading Cash when he came in and out of work. It wasn't very scary or dangerous,
yeah,
or whereas
yeah,
this, it's got, like you say, it's got some legs to it. There's a criminal operation behind this.
mm,
There's dodgy
mm,
money. There's people fighting in the actual, Riverboy group itself. There's infighting between them. There's obviously, Gage took a spanner to someone's leg the other day that's in the gang.
yeah.
So, that this guy feels a bit more unhinged than what we had last year with, I can't remember his bloody name now, the one that was with Flick. Was it Rory?
Rory, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like Rory didn't seem very dangerous, and you know what I mean? Whereas this
Mm,
Gage guy, I can imagine him like, going off on one and being quite scary. He's been quite in your face with his own girlfriend this week, so yeah, he's a bit of a loose cannon, I think.
yeah, yeah, I agree, and I get tense with these scenes with him. He's
Mm,
obviously in charge, and he feels like
mm,
he has control,
yeah.
and he's got that. We've had a lot of drip feeding. We know that Mangrove River police station's closed. We know that they've been running amok. We know the police have been getting tip-offs and intelligence about increased Riverboy activity. So I feel like there's been a little bit of, you know,
Mm,
build up, if you
yeah.
like. And as I say, this brawl was a very familiar scene.
Mm.
We've been here before. Um, but it didn't feel repetitive at the same time.
No,
But
no.
it was telling me this is a big story and it's going to go on,
Mm,
because in the past, that's what we've had when it's gone on.
yeah. Pay attention, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yes, stand up. They're in the bay, and this is the kicking off.
Mm,
Um, Now, so Theo ends up involved in it because he's after some cash, isn't he? He's got this loan, and you'll remember last week they went up and did a job, didn't they, for him,
mm.
on a car, got paid, did a bit of flirty that made us all cringe to high heaven. Want to see what's under your bonnet kind of chat up lines. And we all felt very bad about it. He said, I'll delete the number. That's it. That's gone. And Gage ends up calling Sonny this week and offers him an offer he can't refuse, basically. Sonny ends up convincing Theo to go back to the River Boys, and they wind up at this racetrack, don't they? Actually, and he's basically needs to work on a car, and whilst they're working on it, it seems that Gage and his girlfriend, they're not quite as loved up as you would think. Now we're getting a little bit more information there. She's giving me sort of I'm trapped in this vibe, I'm a little bit scared even, I would say, of Gage. Are you picking that up as well?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But there's that bravado as well, like, oh no, it's not that bad, but then you can tell by her face.
Yeah. I mean, even the point where after the brawl and he gets arrested, Gage, doesn't he? And taken down to YCPD for questioning. So he's bundled into the police car and arrested, and then the first thing she does is turn to Theo and is like, buy me a drink.
Yeah.
She's like, I've got him out of the way now.
Yeah.
I'm free, sort of thing. So I think, she's giving off, I'm trapped with him, and, I don't really want to be like this. I'm adding some complexity to her already. Let's run with it.
I'm here for it. Yeah.
So they're at this racetrack. He's working on the car. There's a bit of something going on between them. And they wind up missing a driver, don't they? And Theo's like, oh, I can drive. Oh, for God's sake.
That was uncanny. Uncanny,
Who's letting him talk? I'm so over it.
He's not over it. That's the problem. He wants to get under it.
There's a reason I keep you around.
Oh dear.
So, last word of warning about the car from Gage before he sets off. You break it and I'll break you. So, we've got to be scared of Gage. I was quite thrilled with this race. I thought, do you know what? I thought we'd blown all the budget in Queensland, but no. Next episode, we're at a real life racetrack. We've got exciting, clips of them racing and betting, and there's loads of extras. That's the thing that, it felt really busy, didn't it? There was loads of characters on screen cheering, and Theo ends up winning the race, which will only feed him, I think, because he wins an absolute ton. And now things have flipped because Sonny's like, oh God, like, we're in a bit deep here. I'm stepping back a bit. Whereas that was Theo last week, but now Theo's all in. He's got the money rolling in. There's a bird here that's fluttering her eyes at him. He's won the race. He's on the adrenaline. It's Theo, isn't he? And things have flipped and reversed. So, and it even ends up being so that, I mean, did they shag in that shed?
I think they did, because when we came back to them, they were putting their clothes back on. I mean, I don't think it lasted very long. I think it was probably 2 minutes tops.
Wasn't very flattering.
No, it didn't make him look like a stud. But I do think the signs were there, because they said, "Oh, I can't believe we did that," and then they were putting their clothes back on, and I was like,
"You wouldn't say that about a kiss, would you?"
No.
And a fumble.
And then she was like, "Oh, if you want to do it again," and he was like, "What now?" And she was like, "Yeah, I think that's pushing our luck." I thought, yeah, there we go.
Classy people.
Give it half an hour. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not the Theo I know.
No.
It isn't.
No. This is the Theo that we got at the beginning. This is the Theo that we got when he first came into the bay, when he turned up in his flash car, and he looked like trouble, and he was a bit of an idiot, you know what I mean? He wasn't thinking properly. And I feel a bit daft, because we've been praising him for the last God knows how long year at least, saying he's so grown up, he's the most mature one, especially out of the band. He's level-headed, he's come a long way, and blah, blah, blah. And now all the blood's like rushed from his head, gone somewhere else in his body, and he's completely lost it this week.
Yeah. I would argue he did the same thing with that Valerie girl.
Oh, yeah, I don't think that was as bad as this, but yeah, you're right.
No, but there's a bit of a pattern, isn't there?
Yeah, it's a girl. It's a girl thing, isn't it?
It's a girl, yeah. And caution to the wind, gets his knob out on a bonnet, I mean, that
So
must have been
romantic.
been through the zip.
Oh,
Jeans not even down.
no, it was, yeah. Oh dear.
Um,
I'll keep.
if we must think about it.
I was going to say I'm gonna keep what's in my head in my head. Oh, dear.
And then with Valerie, it was the drugs, wasn't it? It was,
Mm.
I'm a bit, feeling sorry for myself, and you're hot.
He's
Let's
quite
take drugs and shag.
he's quite easily swayed, isn't he? Because
Yeah.
last week he said to Sonny said something like, "Oh, these are the kind of people we don't want to get angry or get on the wrong side of," and Theo said, "These are the kind of people we want to avoid completely." And then he was filling him in this week, wasn't he? He was telling Sonny, like, these are the River Boys, they're a gang, did you see the tattoos? Da, 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 da. And yet Theo's going, yeah, but, then I could make some money and I could shag this girl. And, wow, he's just not thinking. He's just not thinking with his brain.
No, but also he's going to lose his feet.
Yeah.
They're going to chop his legs off at his knees.
They're going to chop his knob off on the bonnet,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to get castrated like little pig. I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
he is.
Zip her up. Zoop.
Mm-hmm.
What is he doing?
I don't know.
He cannot possibly think anything good will come from this. Do you know what I mean?
Leah is going to be fuming.
Well, she is when he's on life support.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Yeah.
Either through crashing a fucking car,
Yeah.
or literally, he's slept with right under his nose and all.
I know. Yeah.
Ultimate betrayal.
Has he got a record as well? Because when he stole the Polaris and he got done for joyriding and he had to go to court and all that sort of stuff.
Oh yeah.
Did he get a mark on his record for that?
Well, I imagine they will have done money.
When he gets caught racing cars illegally, you know what I mean? It's not a small deal.
No, and they'll protect each other.
Exactly.
He'll be the scapegoat. He's not
one of the boys. He's literally been hired. He's like Gage. Basically, he's buying his time, isn't he? He's not part of the gang. He's not one of the boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's in deep doo-doo here, and I'm trying to work out why. He's got it good. He's got it good now,
Yeah.
Like he's got his apprenticeship back. He's got himself on his feet. He's got this passion project to throw himself into. Why would you do this? Just because Sonny was getting in your ear one day about life. Do you know what I mean? And even he's got a line that seems to have now been crossed.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm incredibly worried about Theo once again.
But I'm actually also really excited in a really sick way, because although it's quite like, oh God, poor Theo, like what the hell are you doing? It's like I can't take my eyes off the television. I want to see what happens, and I kind of want to see how far he pushes it as well. Even though I'm kind of screaming at him, I'm also like, yeah, but go on, what else? What else is he gonna do? I don't know. I'm a bit sick, so I kind of want to see how far.
But it's compelling,
yeah.
And I guess that's the argument, that age-old Riverboy argument for the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's they are exciting.
They are.
Whether you're for or against,
Yeah.
It does shake things up a bit.
And it's different. It's not the same sort of. It's not drugs. You know what I mean? It's not illegal weapons, or this is different. We've not had this before, as far as I can remember.
Yeah.
So it's something new, which I always kind of like anyway. So. Yeah.
What did you make of that scene when Cash had Gage at the cop shop, and he said, "We know who you are."
Oh God.
And how's your sister?
Yeah, I didn't know how to take that. I was going to ask you actually, because I couldn't work out from what he said whether he knew that Flick had died and he was really trying to stick the knife in, or whether he didn't know and he just knew that Flick had an affair with Rory, and that's as far as he was sort of goading him, like, oh yeah, your sister's a fan of us.
Yeah, no, I think he knew.
Do you think?
I think he knew exactly what he was saying.
Oh,
yeah,
that makes
because
me feel sick.
that's going to make Cash versus the Riverboy personal.
Yeah, true. Oh God, that makes me feel sick.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure from what he said whether he was just saying it to like, oh yeah, you might not like us, but I know your sister does. kind
Yeah,
of thing.
I could be wrong, but I think he knew exactly what he was saying.
Oh shit.
How is she these days? Knows damn
Oh,
well she's 6 feet under.
oh shit.
Mm.
Well, then he's a
The
nasty
look on
piece of work
Cash's
then.
face, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we're supposed to take from it all, aren't we? That
Mm.
he's not a pussycat. He's the boss,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he's willing to do anything,
Mm.
and if you cross people like that,
Oh yeah. You
like
would
Theo
have to.
has,
Yeah.
many won't live to tell the tale. So,
Mm.
and I'm going to get run away myself, and now I'm starting to think, is Theo going to die? So yeah,
Oh
yeah.
god. Yeah.
Mm.
When's his contract up? Oh
I
god.
know, someone do the math. Mm,
But no spoilers. We don't want to know. We're just speculating. So no
Yeah.
spoilers. But yeah.
yeah,
Oh dear.
yeah. Second, it's actually only second most dangerous to marrying Leah. Crossing a river boy.
That's true. That is true. That
Yeah.
Leah's like almost certain death. I mean, I don't know how Justin's
Yeah.
still here. You know what I mean? He's on
Yeah.
borrowed time. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Grim Reaper's just on the slow bus with more stops. He's on his way. He's on his way. He's not got the direct.
No, that's true. And he keeps
Yeah.
going to the garage and it's shut. So damn, he's not here.
Another day. I'll try
does this
again.
guy ever go to work? I know you love talking about that.
Thank you.
It's all right.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Right, Maz is calling Docs this week, pretending to be Rue. Going to end well. To tell him what Eliza's up to, because she's like, you know what? Rue's going to do nothing, so why shouldn't I? Okay, Maz. Actually, I was a bit nervous, but it turned out that it was the best thing to do, really, because it's forced Rue's hand, hasn't it, really? She takes a long rush. Through the rush hour as well in diner. Blimey. Leah's going spare about, and when she get back, she's all apologetic, but she's actually been with Eliza's previous foster parents, just like that. That's how easy it is. Pick up the phone and poof, you can go and talk about anybody in the system. No
Yeah.
confidentiality.
Hilarious.
Mm.
Oh dear. Yeah.
We'll Jenny it, Soph. We'll Jenny
You
it.
have to.
Yeah.
You have to. For the plot.
They believe she burnt the house down, don't they? Quelle surprise. So do
I
we,
say,
all watching
we
it.
believe she burned the house down.
And we also think she pushed Nana.
Yeah.
But,
Nana pusher, fire starter. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wrong 'un.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, friend of Gage, by the sound of it. Leah thinks it's all tosh, and Maz is all worried about it. I'm in the house with her. She's dangerous. I'm gonna die. I'm like, these are quite, although she sounds like neurotic and panicked, these are quite valid things to think when you've just learned that you're with a murderer, living with a murderer, or an arsonist or an attempted murderer, and you believe it, so you're going to be in this sort of panic state, aren't you?
Especially because she was kidnapped by her own bloody flesh and blood not that long ago. And poisoned.
Very good point. Yes, very, very good point. Yeah, nearly thrown off the balcony at Crestview. Now, she sort of says, look, I'm going to have to tell, Rue's going to absolutely hate me. She's not going to, even Maz knows what Rue's like. But I'm going to have to tell her, this can't go on. And Justin's like, she's not going to believe you. And everybody at home's like, she's not going to believe you. But she does it anyway. And she's like, I'm going to have that difficult conversation. So she tells her, she reacts how we all expect her to, doesn't she? Nope. Can't be true. She's a difficult child. She's had a difficult upbringing, which are valid points, but Rue has got the blinkers on, hasn't she? Yeah. She is walking in the dark here, blind leading the flipping blind, I think Irene would say. And she's not believing it. She's got no plan on doing so until there's this moment where obviously we've got this fixation of death and birth and everything in between from Eliza, haven't we? Which is still not really been fully explained why she has that to this point, but at least we're getting somewhere with explaining some of her backstory, which we're all elated about. So we're happy to wait for that stuff. So she's still fixated. She wants to get back into the program, Tane's program, doesn't she? Presumably to get close to Tane and and be able to see Harper and Baby and whatever. And so they go to see him, and it's only until he lays into Rue about it and says, "Look, I don't know what it is you're not seeing here. She needs help," and it's him that lays into her, and I think that makes her sort of be open to listening a bit more. Tane says, "Well, what's it going to take for you to realize something is really wrong?" So this sort of means, I think Tane being outside and sort of being quite blunt with her has made her sit up a bit, and think, oh, has Maz got a point? So she does speak to the foster family, doesn't she? And she seems to look like she's on the same page as Marilyn as well, until she sits down and talks to Eliza about it, who turns on the manipulation yet again. And it works like a charm every time. 0% failure rate with that manipulation, hasn't she?
Yeah.
0% failure rate. Because it's all she has to do is start talking and Rue's heart melts.
It's unbelievable, isn't it, really? But is it because Rue is so desperate for this fostering to work and to be able to pat herself on the back and say she helped someone, that she's just willing, if she hears the right thing from Eliza, she's just like, okay, carry on.
It's gotta be, hasn't it? It's gotta be.
It's almost
Rue
narcissistic of Rue. Like, I know better. All these people don't know her. I know her. I can help her. She's just a poor girl. She's so desperate to be able to say that she fostered someone and she's like the foster mama of Summer Bay now. Like, it's making me feel a bit. I'm not even feeling sorry for her anymore, because I'm like, you've been told. She's not just been told by Tane, and the fact that it's got to take someone outside of the household to tell her. The fact that she can't take a friend. How long have they been friends for? Marilyn and Rue. They've been friends for a bloody long time. They were both kidnapped by Heather. Rue was kidnapped as well. You know what I mean? So she should see these warning signs. And it took someone outside of the household for her to actually consider that Marilyn had got a point. And not just that, but Marley said it as well. Tane's not the only person that's raised it and said,
I know.
She's got a problem and you need to sort it. Marley saw it as well.
Yeah, I agree. Do you know how I think? I've been having to think about this, a long, hard think. It's all I think about. And I think this desperation that you're describing would be better explained if she opened. We need a couple of scenes with maybe her and Al for something about how it's not working or whatever.
Yeah.
Although I understand that Al can't be around at the moment because they've got to get Rue in the house with her alone so that she's in danger.
Yeah.
So I understand that we've had to get to this point. But another way of explaining all this would have been that Rue is sort of finding it difficult about her own parental choices over the years. She's got an estranged daughter who's on the run out there, has been for decades now.
Yeah.
She gave up at a young age, and I think if that was explained as this is me trying to give somebody else, trying to make amends, and that's why I am so desperate to help this girl, I think that would go a long way to explaining why she is like this. I think it would help us as well, sort of get on board with her a bit.
You're right. Is it a kind of wiping the slate clean for all the things that she's done in the past with Martha, all the failings that she's done? And going,
that's all it needs to be, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh dear.
Instead, she just looks like she's fucking up left, right, and centre, and doesn't know what she's doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I know, and I get it, because like Martha Jr. was ages ago in the show, and and that's not something we like to look back at, because it's a long time. But it is part of the legacy of the Stuart family. I feel like if it was just addressed, it would go a long way to helping Rue's cause here with the audience, personally.
I agree. Yeah.
And we can briefly explain to the youngsters who she is during these conversations.
Yeah.
Alf can say she's your daughter. She knew when she was with me. She knew that what you had to do was tough, and it's very easily done in a couple of words.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
it's not even a full scene, is it? Like you say, it's a few. I think you're right. I think you're absolutely spot on. Yeah.
So we've ended up in this situation where Rue has now spoken to her. She's been Houdini'd, and now she's like, oh, she's really good. She's just from a tough upbringing and all the rest of it. Maz, you plonker, you're trying to ruin this for me. You're seeing things that aren't there. You're making it up. Blah 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 blah. Maz actually is genuinely worried because on the sly, we've got Eliza earwigging on conversations. Maz can't sleep a wink in the night. She's jump scaring her on the stairs, and me. Bloody hell. Lost a cup of tea in my lap. Scolded.
Oh,
no. And she's whispering sort of, she calls them, vague threats, Maz, wouldn't want you to burn yourself as she's pouring this, knowing that Marilyn knows that she burnt that last house down,
Yeah.
What it must be like to be scared all the time. She's proper threatening Marilyn
I was
on
going
the
to say,
sly.
Marilyn says it's veiled. I don't think these are veiled threats. I think these are threats. These feel
I think they're quite plain, yeah.
Yeah. Watch yourself. She's basically saying that. It's got to the point where Maz is saying, should I have a lock on my door? Should I go to sleep and lock the door so you can't come in and do anything to me in the night? That's not nice. It's not a nice place to be.
No. Well, look, and she agrees, and so she packs a bag, moves out. I was really happy she did that. Happy.
I was pleased about that because obviously everybody on Twitter was having a party that day because we all want to see her moving in with Renee. We all want to hark back to that time, and I think it would be really nice. I don't know how long Eliza's planning to stay around, but because we know Renee's leaving, it'd be really nice to have Maz living with Renee until she goes, and just have the two of them as that kind of like closing a chapter on that whole.
Yeah. Sort of full circle, when Maz was back there in the early days.
In the beach house. I don't want her there with Rue. We've said this for ages. Like, I love Marilyn being next to Mr. Stewart and like living with him because she's like his surrogate daughter, and obviously the bond that they've got is amazing. But I don't want her under the roof with Rue. Even if Eliza moved out, I would say that. She's not a good friend, she's not a good person, and she deserves to be happy and be with someone that's a bit more supportive, like Irene.
Yeah, no, I agree. And Marilyn's there. She can help Irene with her bloody routine, and
exactly.
they work together. I think that could be really good. And
they'll be talking tea all night, doll.
Yes. And talk tea and tofu.
And taro.
And talk tea, tofu, and taro. Yeah, we could go over here all night with the teas. And I think Dana and Harper being there, that's a good little gang. We were talking as well, weren't we? About like everything that involves Renee. We're talking about the future without her, and we were talking about if Marilyn is now at the beach house, could Marilyn keep and carry on the beach house and stay in it post Irene in the show, which would be amazing because I think it's absolutely criminal that Marilyn, as one of the main characters, doesn't have her own house and never really has.
That would be the ultimate dream, wouldn't it? To have her there and it be her house. Yeah. And then she's not, stuck in a spare bedroom in the Stewart house. You know what I mean? She's got her own space, finally.
Yeah. I'm even quite happy for it to stay in Irene's ownership. We don't know what the exit story is. Yeah. But I'm happy for her to be like Irene being her landlord,
Yeah,
and she's
that's
looking
fine.
after the house for her, and
Yeah.
also that gives Irene an excuse, because that happened when I'll talk about Sally's exit again. Sally still owned some of the house for years after she left.
Yeah, she did.
Years.
Yeah.
So, that can still be a thing, and it gives Irene an excuse to come back and sell it.
Yeah, true.
So,
Yeah, it's just having
yeah.
her own space, isn't it? Just Marilyn taking up some space for a change instead of just being tucked
Yeah.
away as a side,
Yeah.
spare bedroom Marilyn. She doesn't deserve that.
Yeah. No, I agree. And then that puts Marilyn in a different space storyline-wise as well, because that's a house with a history of taking people in, and
Yeah.
and then Marilyn ends up in that space, with lodgers,
Or a fella.
or a fella, yeah.
She can't have a fella when she's living under Mr. Stewart's roof, can she? Really?
No, it's a bit orcs, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Keys in a bowl.
Oh God! Pampas grass out the front. Jesus, that's a different storyline altogether. Oh dear.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm obviously getting carried away with that excitement now, because I'm like, okay, all right. Irene, who get out? Move on. No, I'm only kidding.
We've got to get our heads around it, though, haven't we? We have to. That would be a nice consolation prize for having to let go of Renee, wouldn't it? So
yeah. I agree. So Maz has moved out. Rue's a little bit upset about it, and I think that is genuine. I don't think she's like hating on Marilyn, is she? I think she's understood this week that Marilyn had to do what she had to do for herself. And it's obvious that Rue still has those seeds of doubt. She's spoken to the family. Marilyn's gone to the extreme of moving out. I mean, wait till Mr. Stewart gets back and finds out Marilyn's moved out. All hell's going to break loose. So, she's gone into the bedroom, hasn't she? And she's seen the box. Well, I jumped for blooming joy. I thought, someone's seen the box. So she's opened it, because me and you have wanted this box to be a thing since we saw the box, didn't we?
I was excited. I tell you what, though, I was a bit scared when she was opening the box, because I was absolutely convinced that she was going to be at the door, watching her.
I did, yeah. I was waiting for the incidental music to go scary.
She seems to sort of nip around that house very lightly in slippers or whatever, that no one can hear her come into a room. So I was like, literally holding my breath.
I know.
Yeah.
And isn't it nice to see that bedroom upstairs at Summer Bay House? Can we just say?
Isn't that where
classic
Flynn died? Didn't Flynn die in that room?
Yeah, they've all been in that bedroom, haven't they? I think it's the same set for all the different rooms, just to move the door to that corner or whatever.
Yeah. I've always been jealous of the size of that room, because it just looks like it would be a great dressing room, bedroom, all your clothes and
it's that beautiful window, stained glass.
Sit there and do my hair and my makeup. Yeah.
I think it's hilarious as well how there's a step down into the room, isn't there?
Yeah.
And I don't know if you notice on soaps they do that, because if it's upstairs, when a character's going, leaves and goes downstairs, they have to step down onto something to make it look like they're going downstairs.
Oh, yes.
So you'll notice it in there, because that's supposed to be upstairs.
Yeah.
And like on EastEnders, upstairs in the pub, they always step down
into
the living room.
Yeah.
And yes, that's so that when the characters go downstairs, they step down into. Obviously, there's enough. They're not going. But it looks like they're going downstairs. So there we go.
Hilarious. I never thought about that before.
Yeah, I always laugh at the step into that bedroom.
I always think it's funny when they step into the living room in EastEnders, though, because I'm like, no, I've never seen anything like that in anyone's house where you've had to step down like a doorstep into your living room.
I know. Yeah.
Kills me. Oh, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously they build the platform up so that someone can actually walk down the stairs.
That's
quote
so
unquote.
funny.
Yeah.
Love it.
So she's opened the box and she's mortified. She's seeing the picture, isn't she, with the faces scribbled out. She's got a clump of hair. Please tell us whose that is. Dying to know. The knife. The knife.
That's not a knife.
Yeah, the cash that's obviously,
Maz's.
Rue. Yeah, she was saying she was missing, and Eliza does come home back from shopping. I thought those shops were lame, but there we go. With a teddy bear for the baby because she's fixated on that. She's trying to get back into the club, as I said earlier, to get close to baby again. And obviously, Rue has to very quickly put things back in the box, and she takes the knife though, because obviously that she could get her in a sleep with it. So, so she's taken that and she's hidden it in the pantry, or the wicker basket, high up where she can't reach. Not that high up.
Oh, dear.
So, and then Rue's on edge, isn't she? She's like trying not to be alone with her. And Rue called in today's episode, called this meeting with Harper because Harper's back in town. And she's got now better to do. Now she's on maternity leave than talk about kiddies. Rather than talk to her own social worker, she rings one that's, 8 months pregnant, trying to plan a wedding and got better things to do. And they talk about it, don't they, together? And yeah, basically, whilst this is happening at Salt, this conversation of her sort of sharing what's happening with Eliza's discovering that her box hath been tampered with. And she is not happy, is she?
No. Fuming
Goes
doll.
careering to Salt where Rue is, and she's like, "Where's my knife?" Which I've been saying all day.
Oh, dear.
So she's literally melting down. Give me back my knife. And I'm like, it's Mr. Stewart's knife, but okay. Just because you stole it, do not make it your property. So it's sort of blown up, hasn't it? I don't really know how we calm her down from this. She's going to portray this to Ruth as a betrayal of trust, isn't she? Really?
Yes.
What do you think is going to happen?
Nothing good, I don't think. But I'm kind of glad that I think Rue is finally seeing it. Rue is finally looking scared, isn't she? She's finally looking like, I don't know what I've got myself into here. Like when she realised that she was home alone with her, and then she was like, "Oh, I'll see what I can make tuna pasta." On second thoughts, should we just go out? Should we go out for dinner where there's people and they can see
Public.
us, and they can see me, and then know that I'm still alive? There was fear in her eyes, genuine fear.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of glad that she's having these thoughts now. She doesn't think Marilyn's just crazy and over dramatic and whatever. But I don't think this is going to end well. I think something's going to happen. It's going to escalate. It's going to happen, isn't it? I mean,
yeah. Well, where we've left the week, she's stood in a restaurant screaming.
Yeah.
So it involved all these witnesses now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, you're not going to be able to keep a lid on this, are you? Really?
No.
She's going to feel betrayed. Rue's going to feel dreadful for betraying her, and the manipulation, I think, will go again.
Yeah.
And actually, I am quite worried that Eliza will hunt Maz down and be like, "This is your fault. You've caused all this."
Turned her against me. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point, because she blamed the other foster kids at the home. She was like, "Oh, they didn't like me. They were jealous of me. This is what happened, and they blame me for the fire." She's going to do the same about Maz, isn't she? You're jealous of me because I was spending time with Rue, and she's your friend. She could throw it all back in her face, couldn't she? Quite easily.
Yeah. And she's the kind that would, isn't she? Let's
Yeah,
face
she
it.
would. I think she's this is going to sound really weird because she's actually a child. She's under 16. She's a child, but it's like she gets off on seeing people scared of her. Like the minute that when we saw Rue's eyes look a bit scared, and she's getting exasperated because she was like, "Oh, can we go and see Tane and Harper and the baby now? Like, can we go round? I've got that teddy I want to give them." And she was like, "No, not now. Like tomorrow, maybe. Like, back off." And she almost looked happy that she'd riled her up and let Rue look scared. And she said something like, "Are you okay?" Like, but she said it in a really sarcastic way, like, "Have I got to you? Have I
Yeah.
upset you?"
Yes. Now you say it. Yeah, I can see that.
She
It was
kind of
almost
enjoyed
like
it.
it was almost like you okay? You seem to have a problem.
Yeah. If I
Um,
upset you, if I have, great.
yeah,
Love
yeah.
it.
Oh God!
It's a bit
I tell you
sick.
what, it is sick. It's really chilling. It
It
really is
is.
chilling. I think they've got an absolutely stellar actress,
They have.
young
Yeah.
young actress playing her. They really have. I need to make it my mission to learn a bit more about her this weekend because she's playing an absolute blinder.
She is.
I wonder how this went down in Australia. Because we don't always, the Northern Hemisphere and Southern Hemisphere, we don't always have the same reaction to things, do we?
No,
It,
that's true. But I can tell
I'm
you the reaction from this side of the world is very mixed, and I'll tell you more about it on your side of the bay in a bit.
interesting. Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. Spoilers. Yeah, interesting. Okay, I'll save it for then. But yeah, it'd be interesting to know really what the reaction is because I'm overwhelmingly loving it, but I'm not supposed to love the character, but I'm really loving what's going on. You know what I
No.
mean? I'm
Yeah.
enjoying the entertainment.
It's
You
very
know?
well acted. It's obviously,
Mm.
yeah. I don't think it would work as well if the actress wasn't as good. I'll be honest.
Yeah, same, yeah. And
Yeah.
when like I say to you, I think this is one of the better acted soaps there is.
It
When you
is.
look at some of these young actors on like EastEnders and things,
Oh, it
God,
makes
it's
me
awful.
cringe. It makes me
I
cringe.
know.
Yeah.
And when you think what we can get on here,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? It is really well acted.
It is definitely.
Tane's not sorting out any of the wedding food, anything. Dana's doing it all, literally everything, and she ends up having a few drinks, doing the wine tasting in Salt this week. Sonny arrives. Now, this was so funny, much needed, I must say, after the high drama.
Yeah.
I love Dana. I especially love Dana with a drink downer. Um, this whole Sonny thing that's happening with it. Now, I was really against this, wasn't I, the first time? And the fact that it didn't happen, but they've bumped into each other again, propping the bar up.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of a camaraderie starting, isn't there?
Yeah.
Here you are again at the bar, and the flirting continues. But I mean, so I was actually into it at this point. I was okay with it, like I was starting to thaw to the idea. Until Tane cock blocks it.
Yeah. Again.
What was that all about?
Someone else dragging her away from him. Wasn't it Kirby last time dragging her away? Go, nope, you don't want to meet him. Come on.
Yeah.
It's
going to be very, very passionate when it happens, isn't it? I think.
It's been teased heavily, hasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. It's just, I think I'm hoping this is going to sound.
We're going to need a wet floor sign.
Caution, wet floor. I am kind of hoping that when it does happen, either both of them had a drink or Dana is not as drunk as she's been the last 2 times she's cracked onto him, because
that's not a good message, is it?
It's a bit, it makes me a bit uncomfortable, although drunk Dana is absolutely fabulous. And she reminds me of us in the Hunter Valley on our wine tour. It was not dissimilar to what happened in Salt this week.
Very true, actually, yeah.
Especially the bus ride home and the other participants. Anyway, it's very, very similar, but I hope that she's not absolutely legless and he's stone cold sober when they do eventually.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. And I'm actually, that's a clever tactic of the writers because it hasn't happened. She has been legless. It has, and the timing's been off, hasn't it? So I think that attraction will grow, and yeah, I think it will happen in a very passionate way when everyone is quite compass mentis and can consent.
Exactly.
Properly.
I don't mind tipsy, but she needs to be able to remember it in the morning. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Definitely. But there's obviously something between them.
Yeah.
And I hated it, and now I don't hate it so much. But yeah. the next day she's nursing that hella hangover, and she's also developing quite a nice friendship with Abby, which is a friendship I never saw coming. But I don't even mind that either, and I think I love Home and Away for friendships. I think it's something that they're quite strong with, actually, with the young adult cast, and I think that was a really good plan. If them two became sort of quite good besties, quite close, that could be really good. There's a little something there as well, I'm seeing.
Yeah, definitely. And it was almost kind of like flirty as well with Abby Winehouse, as I'm calling her. So yeah, it was cute. I thought that was a really cute interaction, and the way that Abby kind of looked after the day after as well. You know, she brought her that food, and Dana was like, "Oh, it looks dense. Oh, I don't know I don't know whether I could manage that." and Abby was like, "It is, but get it down you, because you're going to feel better when you've had it." You know what I mean? Like, she's looking after her. That was nice. And Dana was like, "Oh, I could take you to the wedding because I've got nobody. You know, I'm dateless." So
is that a thing people are picking up on then?
no, I just think it's cute. I thought it was cute. That's all. I don't think there's any potential for a relationship, but I just thought it was borderline flirty, and it was quite cute.
Mm, mm. Honestly, Dana just can't do any wrong for me.
Yeah.
Unless if she was gay.
If she was gay, she would be doing it wrong for you.
Yeah. Gays and lesbians.
Oh, really?
No, I'm only kidding.
Not a fan.
I'm only kidding.
Not a fan.
I'm only kidding. Only kidding. I'm just stoking the fire. Yeah, maybe that's like a little tease in the script. You know, just try and get it in there. You know, have a bit of fun. But yeah, I've quite liked I think they bounce off each other quite well.
Yeah.
And I think it's telling that Abby is her boyfriend's replacement. And she ends up there at his place of work trying to sound off her.
Yeah.
That is Xander in female form stood in front of her.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, hadn't thought about
There's some Freudian stuff going on.
Well, see, now I do want something to happen. I wouldn't be mad. I'll be honest.
No.
I wouldn't be mad.
No, same to be fair.
Especially because Abby can do so much better than Marley. And, you know, Dana, a bit of a catch. Bit of a catch. I wouldn't be mad.
Heard it here first.
Wouldn't be mad. Right, Si, I've been digging.
That blooming shovel of yours never stops.
I got my trowel out. And I've been
Excuse me.
Trowel. I've been digging through social medias, obviously. I can't help myself. I'm just unstoppable. I'm like a force to be reckoned with. And I've been grabbing comments from Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and everywhere, trying to find out what people think about Homers this week. So are you ready to hear what I've got to tell you? You ready?
I am actually really ready because a lot's happening. I am loving it, and can't wait for the next episode. So I'm wondering what everyone else is thinking. Well, hit me.
I will tell you. Quick reminder before I tell you, though, everybody else out there, we are also on social medias. Look for us, Coastal News Podcast, at Coastal News Pod, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, YouTube, Twitter, Blue Sky. I've run out of breath. We also tweet along live while we watch the show. So if you are around between 6:30 and 7 p.m. Monday to Friday, jump on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Use the hashtag HomeAndAwayUK and tell us your thoughts. And I might just read out your thoughts next week on Your Sound of the Day.
How exciting.
You never know. So, okay, I'm gonna ask you to brace for the first.
Oh, blimey. An early brace, right.
Brace yourself. Because I went to Facebook and Facebook were talking about a topic that we've heard before and talked about on here before, but it's come up again, and there were so many comments about it I couldn't really ignore it. So the topic of conversation was, is there too much crime and violence in Home and Away?
Oh, is it actually a big convo as well?
Yeah, there's quite a lot of people weighing in on this. So I read you some of the comments. I've only got you a few comments because there were quite a few,
Right.
but saying the same thing.
People getting upset.
Yeah, a little bit. They were kind of repeating the same thing. So I've took 3 comments that kind of cover what everyone was saying. So
Right.
Alison says, I still like watching Home and Away. Instead of all this crime, though, why don't we cast some new people to come back to visit the Bay? Old cast, basically, to come back and visit the Bay.
But
So
cast
rather,
new people, I don't think I understand.
I think she means like bring the new cast, recast the old people.
Oh, recast them. Right.
Yeah, to come back to visit the Bay. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, instead of the violence. Why can't we have both, Alison?
Is it. What's violent? What's been violent?
Well, this is the other thing. So Angela says too
I
much
suppose
violence.
we were waving a knife, but.
Yeah, I mean, this is what do you call violent? So Angela says too much violence in this program lately. Viewers can see where it's going to end. And then this was all on the Facebook page. It was on the video of Theo racing the car for the River Boys. And Sue Carter said, I'm hating this storyline. I just can't watch it. It's too much violence. And this is what I was going to ask you, Si. So specifically, this is about the River Boy Theo stuff. I know it's dangerous. I know there's been threats of violence because he said things to Theo like, you wreck my car, I'll wreck you, in a nutshell. And he hit one of the River Boys recently, didn't he, that did something, and he whacked him, didn't he, the back of the leg. They were having a scrap, weren't they,
Yeah.
in their lockup or whatever they've got, and he kind of hit him to pack it in. So I kind of see that there's been threats of violence, and there's been some things that have been aired on screen, and he's been in the face of the girlfriend. Gage just got squared up to his girlfriend and said, I gave you this task and you didn't do it. And again, it was like a threat of this could escalate. But I don't actually see it as violent, and maybe that's because of the kind of content that I normally watch, and maybe I'm desensitized to the level of violence or crime or whatever you want to call it on Home and Away. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah, maybe there's a bit of that going on. I mean, ultimately, it's a daytime soap. It only goes so far. Even when you have to, tell it you're over 16 to watch it on the app. Like there's a ceiling, isn't there? And I mean, I'm not particularly into too much rock and roll and violence on my TV, but even I think it's quite mild. I think maybe there's a bit of they're not articulating it very well, but maybe it's what the River Boys et al. Represent violence, don't they? They represent a darker side to the Bay. They it makes things, there's like a danger element that comes in, but I think the light, we've spoken for hundreds of hours now literally about light and shade and how that has always sort of existed in the Bay, and it's what's made the show set apart from others. It hasn't always, it isn't this light, sunny thing. It's escapism for us, especially in the UK and Ireland. It is escapism. It's the beach, it's the hot bodies, it's the sunshine, but it has always had this underbelly. And the River Boys have been there like 15, 16 years, being a part of that now. I don't think it's a new thing.
No.
Maybe it's a shock to the system, and maybe they represent, guns and drugs and betting and fast cars, and that just upsets the housewives a bit.
Maybe, yeah. I think you got a point. I don't know, because I do. It's going to make me sound really awful, but I do watch quite a lot of violent stuff. I watch like a lot of action films, horror films. They're my main 2 sort of genres of film, and I do enjoy like crime thrillers and things on the TV. I watch a lot of true crime documentaries. So I kind of saw this, and at first I thought, bloody heck, there's not enough violence in Home and Away for me, but there's enough pre-Watershed stuff for it to keep me interested. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I kind of dismissed what they were saying, but then I thought, well, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm just like I'm so
No, I
used
don't
to
think
it.
so.
But
I think there's a lack of understanding of sort of surf culture as well. This gang is based on a real gang.
yeah,
These people do exist. There is a part of the world out there. Life is a bit shit sometimes, and there are awful people in the world, up
yeah,
to no good.
yeah.
And you know, these guys are based on these surf gangs and brotherhood, and these gangs do operate
Yeah.
in these remote towns in
Maybe
Australia.
Sue Carter hasn't seen Point Break. That's what you need. Sue, watch
That's what it
Point
is.
Break this weekend.
Yeah.
The
Why
the
didn't you
original,
scope, Sue?
not
Yeah.
the remake.
Give the
Yeah.
chase a rest next week. And
Put Country File down. Pick up Point Break.
but we're laughing and we're having a joke because she'll never listen to this. But
No.
you know, it's okay to like nice, warm, fuzzy things as well.
Yeah.
But on a soap, you've got to have a bit of everything for everyone, and yeah, I suppose is
Yeah.
what I would say.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yes. Okay.
It's
Like I
not that
say,
dangerous. I've not seen anything violent this week.
I don't think it. I think considering it's been a week where we've had a kidnapping of 2 women by a criminal.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, and this is what they say is violent. Racing a
no,
car.
well, this is that's what I mean.
Oh,
They've commented on specifically they commented on the Theo thing, but it could be a culmination of all of it, and they've just got
yeah,
the straw that broke the camel's back could have been the
yeah, yeah,
Theo
yeah,
thing. I
yeah.
don't know. But we in the week where we've had the kidnapping, we've had the Eliza storyline with the knife and the burning down the house and everything else.
Burning down the house. Sorry, I had to do that.
Neuro spicy.
Sorry. That was like, yeah, reflex.
I get it. For the Theo story to be the straw that broke the camel's back, I think it's a bit premature because I don't think it's that dangerous at the moment. All that
No.
there's threats,
Yeah,
but it's not
yeah,
violent.
we're gonna go somewhere,
Yeah,
aren't we, with it? Let's
yeah.
face it.
But yeah, people aren't happy. Okay, it's good that we disagree. I think because then
Yeah,
we wouldn't have a "You'll Sound the Bay" for a start. It wouldn't be really boring
yeah,
if everyone agreed with us. So
yeah. Of
yeah,
course, yeah.
yeah,
Interesting, isn't it? What different people want, and I say interesting a lot when it comes to this because I'm fascinated by
yeah.
everyone's thoughts.
Because it's the same show. We're all watching it, but obviously they're hating it and we're loving it. So
Yeah.
that's what made me think. Like, is it me? Maybe I've got a problem. Maybe
You're too dangerous.
violence is not a problem for me. Fictional, obviously. Yeah, I don't know. Weird. I tell you what, though, one thing that everyone agreed on was drunk Dana.
Oh yeah.
And I've got a couple of comments on this, and again, these kind of epitomise what everyone was thinking. So Nina on X Twitter said, "Go me, clink. Drunk Dana is brilliant." Yeah, absolutely. And Jamie on Twitter also says, "Drunk Dana, excellent stuff." And that was it.
Gosh.
Basically, everyone was like, "Loving Drunk Dana." I mean, Dana as a whole is pretty popular, so.
I
Yeah.
can't remember a character that was this popular and successful in a while. She
No.
has just come out the gate, hasn't she?
Yeah.
And has stole the hearts of the audience.
It's the way that Annie
Um,
portrays her. She's so believable. It's like
yeah, I
the
think so.
scattiness and the almost anxious portrayal that she's got going. Like but then the confidence as well. I love this week when she sort of said to Tane, like, "Are you busy now?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, I've got this. I've got to do this, and I've got to do that." And she was like, "Yeah, but you could not do that, and you could come to the surf club with me and talk about your wedding." And he went, "Oh yeah, I guess so." And she went, "Yeah, great minds." Like she hadn't, he hadn't really agreed to it, but she was just like, "Yeah, great minds. We both thought the same thing." It's that she's got a way of kind of not manipulation, but like persuading people to do stuff that she wants them to do.
She can get people on board and make it feel like it was their idea.
Yeah, it's funny.
I liked this bit where she comes over, she's summoned by Harper when Harper's back in town, and we didn't really talk much about it on the main bit, but Tane and her are just having this awkward cup of tea not having nothing to say to each other, and I just want the ground to swallow me up. Dana comes into the room and completely changes the entire scene.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of character that we need in this situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. Also on social media, lots of continued praise for the Diggy storyline. Obviously, that concluded at the beginning of this week, and we talked about
Super
that.
popular.
Super popular. We talked about that last week, didn't we, on Your Send the Bay? Loads and loads of comments. Again this week, the same comments over and over again on social media. Wish they were back permanently. Wish we'd have Dean back. Wish we'd have Ziggy back. Wish we had Karen back, etc., etc. Loads of comments like that. So I've picked out a few other ones that were about this storyline. So David on Facebook says, this was absolutely fantastic, and I love how this progressed from hatred between Levi and Dean to mutual respect. That one criminal especially was lucky Dean didn't go 5150 on him. Now I don't know what that means.
No, I don't actually.
5150.
Shall we bing it?
Is it a rhyming slang?
Go 5150 on someone. Is that what I search?
Yeah. I don't know what it means, but yeah. I'm guessing it means...
It's come up with, does a 5150 go on your record?
Oh, is it a crime code? I don't know. Maybe it's an American...
5150, it's a number, yeah, it looks American. It's the number of the section of the Welfare and Institutions Code which allows an adult who is experiencing a ... mental health.
Oh, right. Oh.
Involuntary psychiatric commitment.
Oh, there we go. So Dean's just unleashed on him, basically. Yeah.
Section.
Yeah, to the point where he's gone completely mad. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So David was loving it. Fantastic.
Well, yeah.
Love the violence.
Thanks for the education.
Loved it. He loves a bit of violence. Clarice said, and this was on a post about Diggy specifically, Clarice on Facebook said, best soap beats all the others.
Clarice, we concur.
Yeah. See,
I'm glad somebody else can see what we can see.
Not everybody's agreeing with the too much violence. Some people are loving the violence, clearly.
It's just exciting.
It is.
You know, like it's not just like normal people, humdrum affairs, you know.
Yeah.
The bread and butter of soaps. It's like exciting stuff. You know what I mean?
It is, definitely. It is. And talking about exciting, Mr. David on Twitter says, Levi's never had all this excitement in the city. He says the most excitement Levi's had was in his button-down shirt to a gala. Look at him now, ducking and diving with crims.
Levi was not comfortable with anything, was he? He was like...
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
The dichotomy between Dean the bad boy and Levi the good boy. You know what I mean?
I know. Funny. It was so good. Like, we're going to put him in the boot. Yeah. Oh, God.
I'm a doctor. I can help you. No, I'm going to beat you up, mate. Where's my wife? It was brilliant. It was brilliant. Emma Gravy Monster says, poor Levi, love. He looks like he's traumatized. But that's what you get hanging around with a river boy. Yeah. He didn't know what he was getting into, did he? Because he was like, oh yeah, Max told me that you're in some gang, which made it sound so petty and juvenile.
Yeah, but also like by osmosis, that is Mac's life as well.
Yeah, true. But she wasn't brought up with him, you know, so she's got some distance from it.
No, but you know, if he wrongs her,
yeah,
he's gonna find a bad boy on his doorstep, isn't he?
Good point. Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, I did tell you earlier that the Eliza story is splitting opinion.
Yeah.
And it really is. So some people are really enjoying this storyline, and some people are really not enjoying the storyline. So I've got a mixture of comments so that I can read them out to you. So first of all, Facebook D says, if Eliza's plan was for us to all hate her, it's worked. And then loads of emojis laughing. Rue, your desire to foster and care for children is truly admirable. But let's be honest here, you are getting this horribly wrong with Eliza. Don't get burned.
Literally.
Literally.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, this sort of akens to what we were talking about, that perhaps we need to root for her a bit more, and there's something missing really in that.
Yes.
All we think is she's making a right dog's
Pig's
dinner
ear.
with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
But yeah, is there something more to it than that?
Yeah.
Jamie on Twitter says the actress playing Eliza is brilliant. It takes a lot to act alongside all these veterans of the show, and she's holding her own.
That's a really good point,
Yeah.
Imagine a girl of her age. She's going to know all these characters' names.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a proper good gig to get.
Intimidating.
Yeah. But she's come out and she's absolutely smashed it, and she's getting to share screen time with Raymar, Emily Simons, Georgie Blummin Parker.
Yeah.
Like, these are people who know what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, and she's holding her own, as Jamie
She's
said.
so
Yeah.
good. Honestly, I'm really disappointed with myself that I haven't really looked into her more, and I'm giving her the praise. I promise next week I'm going to talk about her non-stop. I'm going to know her name.
We haven't had time, doll. It's been a busy week. Yes.
It's been an insane week. Yeah, I'm going to find out that she's been to... It's not RADA, is it? What's the school they all go to?
Oh, I know the one you mean, but I can't think of the name. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
I'm
equivalent
going to
of-
know it
of
all.
RADA.
Yeah, I'm going to
Yes.
know it all.
Yes. Tamsin from Pop Goes the Tam Tam podcast, friend of the pod.
Ooh, yeah.
Hi, Tamsin.
Hello.
Tamsin commented on our Insta page this week. We don't get many comments on our Insta page, so I appreciated this. But Tamsin said, Eliza's absolutely killing it, and you can tell that the actors that she interacts with are enjoying it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she
What
says...
What can you say?
She sums up the performance as chilling, which I think is really...
It is so good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's on point.
And Tamsin, again, is someone who knows what she's talking about.
Yes. Yeah.
So for that to come from her, is so good.
Yeah. That's high praise.
Whatever you think of the character, you can't deny the performance is
absolutely
really good.
Yeah. Timothy on Twitter says she really, really fucking scares me. Really fucking scares me.
Timothy, he's not watching the same films as you.
He's not. Yeah.
No.
He's proper scared.
Yeah.
Lock the door, Timothy. Lock the door. Yeah.
Lock the door. There's a song in everything today. Everything's...
They'll rock the boat.
She's supposed to be scary, and we're supposed to be like anticipating an unhinged move. Like, I love being uncomfortable watching this show.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in my element with this personally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Timothy sounds like he is.
Yeah, definitely. There's lots of comments like this. Mark on Twitter says she's a good young actress playing an evil character. It shows that she's doing a good job. So there's lots of praise. But then, as I said before, not everybody is loving the storyline. So Robert on Facebook says, not enjoying the storyline. To be fair, Rue needs to go to Specsavers if she can't if she can't see what's going on, rather than trusting Marilyn, who she's known for years, for goodness sake.
I mean, yeah, the guy's got a point here, because that is so hella frustrating, isn't it?
It is,
when
but
Rue
to not enjoy the
doesn't
storyline for that, for that reason.
Is there like a blurring of the lines though? Like, is it like you hate the character, so you're saying you're not enjoying it, but actually you're into it so much that you felt compelled to write a comment on the internet? So
true. Yes, you got.
Do you know what I mean? Someone's playing. They've sucked you in, lad.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true, Robert. Maybe you are enjoying it. You're just not enjoying Rue being a bit of a suck. Maybe
a lot of blokes this week, on your say. I'm noticing.
It's interesting, isn't it? Yes.
That's not a deliberate thing of yours, is it? No.
Well, to be honest, I do pick the comments that aren't samey. They aren't just like Eliza's a cow and Diggy should come back permanently, because those get a bit repetitive.
Yeah.
picking out
But
the
you've
long...
not sort of thought, I'm going to pick a load of men.
No, not at all.
So this is interesting.
I've picked the more interesting comments that aren't just one line or two words.
It's normally quite female heavy, isn't it?
Well, there are still quite a lot of lady comments to come, so you never know.
Sorry.
Lady
Okay.
comments are on the way.
Sorry.
Severine on Facebook says, I detest this storyline. Marilyn is an incredible character and Emily is a stunning actress, as is Rue, but they need to bring joy and happiness. The real world is a terrifying place. Well, yeah, surely then it should be reflected in the storylines in the Bay. If it's a terrifying place. Don't know.
Yeah.
Not sure I agree with that.
No, I'm not actually. That's someone who's looking for escapism. Again, but you can't. This isn't new. This isn't a new introduction to the show. This tone.
But I look for escapism, but in an exciting way. Like I don't want to
Yeah.
see. I don't want to see someone go to work, make a cup of tea, have dinner,
No.
have a nice little chat with their neighbour. That's my fucking life. I don't want that.
Certainly don't want to chat to the neighbour.
Exactly. I don't want to put my bins out and have a chat over the fence. I want to see violence and crime.
And also, we're such a mess that you are definitely, like me, chasing with your wheelie bin at 7:10 in the morning.
Of course.
In your dressing gown.
I can
Because
hear
you
it
forgot to...
coming down the road and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, shit the bed.
You can
Here we
hear
go.
it bipping while it's reversing. You're
Yeah.
thinking, what? Launch yourself out.
Exactly.
What
And
day is it? What
What-
day is it?
And I'm just staring into the fridge going, why have I got no food? Why have I got nothing to eat? Oh, shit, the bins. Yes. Yeah.
And you and I have had this really mundane conversation. I've got a bin app where I live, and I still manage it.
I don't have a bin app. Not that technological in the village, unfortunately. Not. We do have one. We have the binfluencer, who's the guy that puts the bin out, and all I do is look out the window and go, "Oh right, it's the green bin," because he's put the green bin out.
Sophie, my bin app, 7 p.m. the night before, sends me a notification going, put the blue bin out.
Really?
And then I just dismiss it. And then in the morning, I go, shit. I didn't put the blue bin out.
Oh no. I've only got Mark the binfluencer across the road that puts his bin out at like 4 p.m. on a Sunday.
Right.
Yeah, and then I look
All
out
you've got
and
to
go,
do,
crap, the bin.
I've worked out how we get out of this hole.
Oh God, what is that then?
We register. What's your council's name? No, don't say actually on the pod.
Okay.
But we register your council's name just for location privacy purposes. We register your council's name on, we own that name. And then when they eventually get around to doing the app, we'll be like,
yeah. Buy it off
100k,
us.
please.
Yeah. And then we can go back
Yeah.
to Sydney.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Plan. Right, you heard it here first.
Mm.
Hopefully no one from my constituency is listening. Anyway. Oh dear. Right. That was interesting for everyone at home. I'm
It
sure.
wasn't. Yeah. Yeah. I might cut that. Let me make a note of that.
Oh, dear.
That might have to go.
Oh well. It's alright. We'll carry on. Nina on Twitter says, "Oh Maz, run! Move out now. You're too precious to us." Yeah.
Yeah. And she
precious.
does.
She does. Yeah, this was before that, clearly. Mr. David, she's not psychic. Mr. David says, Maz needs to spray some of her hairspray in Eliza's direction. I love that. I love the idea of this. Like, when she just comes to talk to you in her face, like just a spider or
Yeah, well,
something.
Eliza takes the lighter out and just blows the whole place up as a result.
That's true. That could literally backfire. Okay. That would be bad. That would be bad. Although entertaining,
Yeah.
Victoria Krankenwagen on Twitter says, "I can't believe Rue was one of those kidnapped by Heather, and yet she can't see. Eliza is a walking, talking red flag."
Yes.
Yeah. Julie Smith's
She
got
doesn't
some...
want to see it. That's what it is. She
That's
knows.
true.
She just doesn't want to see it.
It's true. It's true. She sees what she wants to see, or she wants what she wants, and Julie Smith's raised some really good points this week, and one of them was that Rue should be setting up a secret camera to film her behaviour and then show. Not sorry, Rue. Marilyn should be setting up a secret camera to film Eliza's behaviour, and then she can show Rue what she's been doing. And I thought, Julie's got a point here. So Marilyn, bless her, she's so old school. She wouldn't even think about this, about setting up a camera, because she's, as Mr. David joked, she's the only person that's still using cash in a cashless society. She's so old school. But then she could have marked the bills. The other thing she could have done, because she's getting the money nicked out of her purse, she could have written on the money, and then it appears in Eliza's music box or whatever with a name on it. I don't know.
That's a very good idea.
There's a couple
and then
of things.
all Maz has to say to Rue is, if you don't believe me, this is what I've written on the notes. Go and have a look.
Yeah, if she's using any money, it's mine. Yeah.
Well, we know she is. She's going shopping for teddy bears.
Well, yeah, but Rue don't believe her, does she? Don't believe it. Don't believe it, doll. Yeah.
I'm really thinking about sort of tomorrow's first look now, and sort of going ahead thinking what is going to be going on next week with Eliza and Rue. I'm just itching to get there because this is just mad.
Yeah. Well, Twitter's not as worried about Rue as they are about other people. So a lot of people have been putting two and two together and been worried about Harper and the fact that Harper's now back in the Bay and Eliza's unhinged. So Tweety Tie on Twitter says this girl might try to gate crash the C-section.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How would that even happen?
Well, Sev's got an idea. Sev on Twitter says, just as Eliza is reaching peak psycho and there's a knife kicking around, let's bring back heavily pregnant Harper, whose pregnancy Eliza is obsessed with. What could possibly go wrong?
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Is she going to perform the C-section herself, I think, is where Twitter's going.
Attempt to.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Doesn't bear thinking about.
Because she's had that conversation about wanting to be a surgeon, hasn't she? And she's got this knife.
And she's done the studying. That would be violent.
I would agree. That would be violent. Yeah, I would agree. Yeah.
Oh, God, Sophie.
Yeah. Yes. So anyway, that's what social media is thinking about Rue and Eliza. But what about Theo?
Oh, God.
Oh, dear, Theo. So, Julie on Facebook says...
With his peen sticking out of his jeans. Yeah, go on.
Oh, stop it. We've met this guy. It's too weird.
And he was rude. Anyway.
He was not. Anyway, we were very drunk. Julie on Facebook says he used to race his car before, just not on the track. Didn't he end up in a car crash? I don't remember this. Didn't he end up in a car crash? ?
He had the sporty car, didn't he, when he arrived?
He did, but I don't remember him ending up in a car crash.
No, I don't.
He got beaten up by his dad, didn't he?
Yeah, and I mean, deserved it now when you think about it. I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding.
Rude. I don't remember a car crash, Julie, but Francis has commented and said he has been known as a bit of a racer boy when he first roared into the bay in that flash motor.
Yeah, he had that. See, you said the same thing, didn't you? You said this behaviour, this Theo's reminding you of early Theo.
Yes.
So that's sort of a similar comment, isn't it?
And it was that Theo that we didn't like, which is what I'm worried about. And yet we've been praising him for a year, saying how good he is.
Yeah, that's one thing to be worried about, really.
I'm a bit nervous. Emma Jane says Theo never learns. He literally goes from one disaster to another and then blames everyone else for his issues. Annoying.
Interesting.
Does he blame everyone else?
See,
I haven't seen that.
And it's not often we hear such stark criticism of Theo, to be fair.
Not for a while. When he first joined, it was rife. But not for the last year or so. Yeah.
He's messing up here, isn't he? He's doing another boo-boo.
I think so. Yeah. And lots of people were saying, no, prefer him in the band. Don't want him to get into the wrong crowd. This is unnecessary. Why do we need this storyline? There was lots of general mumbling, grumbling, groaning, moaning about the storyline.
Don't do it. Yeah.
No, not happy. Emma Gravy Monster on X Twitter has got more pressing concerns than Theo in this storyline. She says, I think someone should look into the fact that none of the people in Mangrove River can afford sleeves. Or maybe there's an enormous moth problem. Now, does she mean like one enormous moth? Or like lots of moths?
Mother moth.
Being an enormous problem. Because that's got my mind racing about an enormous moth.
We don't want to have to contend with that, do we?
We don't need that, doll. There's enough going on. I'm not ready for the enormous moth problem. Oh my god.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes, everyone's got cut-offs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't hate it, I love a bicep.
How if you spend hours getting a tat, it would be a shame to put a sleeved t-shirt on.
Yeah, you got to cut your sleeves off.
If you're getting blood and sand written everywhere about your body, you know what I mean? You got to show it off.
A lot of them as well. If it's not a tank top, it's like a DIY crop, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes, it is. Yes.
It's definitely a look.
It's a look. It's very Bill and Ted. Yeah.
Yeah. Mangrove look.
Right. What about Mac's baby bombshell?
Has it taken people by surprise like it did us?
Well, there's people questioning it. So as I mentioned on the earlier main segment of the pod, Nina on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, did actually tweet us this week and said, "Can Mac even have kids? Because I thought she lost the baby with Ari, and I thought part of that storyline meant that she couldn't have kids." Now, I haven't had time to fact check this, and I will do, and I'll come back next week. But if anybody in the meantime wants to tweet us or Facebook us or whatever and tell us what was the deal with that baby, because I don't remember what happened.
Yeah, there was definitely a problem, and but yeah, we need to go back and look at the deeds, don't we?
We do, yeah.
Not even that though. Like, the girl just had a heart attack, so you've got things like that to consider before conceiving. Even just that would be a problem.
Well, yeah, medically, yeah. How
it's got to be a concern at least.
How safe is it now? I don't know. Mr. Dave has also got a concern that it's only been a year since Mac and Levi have been together. So should they even be talking about babies at this point?
Well, I know of a couple that had a baby with even less of a run-up.
Well, was that planned or not? Sometimes there's an accident. This is like, I want to start.
Well, I'm talking about old Jim Floor there.
Oh, good point. Well, that was definitely an accident. That wasn't like they had a conversation and said, "Oh, we should have a baby." You know what I mean? That was an accident. This is a planned thing, but is a year too early to start planning? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not with. I think every couple has their own sort of timeline. Like, I think I really hate it when people say things like, "Oh, it's too early," or "You need to stick by this rule." And it's like these rules about length of time. If it's right for them, it's right for them. We'll find out as this unfolds, won't we?
I think the problem is,
but a year for one couple could be 10 years for another.
That's true, but I think the problem is with their 1 year, he's only just got divorced. They don't seem to have had the conversation about whether he does want kids. They don't seem to have had a conversation about what their futures look like.
There's the crux.
Yeah.
So they've not had the conversation, same as Tani and Flick.
Yeah.
Not had the conversation. It's the same story.
Yeah.
So I really hope we don't go down this route. We've already seen it. Very recently. But you're right. You're right to call that out, Sophie, because it's lack of communication again. And I'm not being funny. When you're dating someone and you've been together a year, you do talk about whether you want kids at some point or not.
Yeah, I mean, I would say before a year, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
Because after a year, you're wasting someone's time if you've got the wrong ideas about the future.
Yeah, and we've shared that on here before, talking about Tony and Flick, haven't we?
Yeah.
About all that. You definitely. So even though they've only been together a year, this conversation should have come up at some point.
Yeah. I mean, it should have come up in that conversation about what colour Levi prefers the night sky to be.
Oh God, don't set me up.
That would have been an ideal time to have that conversation, I think. But there we go. Mr. David made me laugh this week, as he always does, actually. But Mr. David says, talking about babies to Tane is like talking to a stamp collector about stamps. That really made me laugh. He says, seriously, Mac, get yourself some friends who aren't baby obsessed.
That's a good point. Take yourself out of it. Also, is she being one of these people that are like, they see somebody else with something and think, I want to be like them?
Probably.
You know, because it's like flavour of the moment.
Yeah.
You know, like...
Ziggy's pregnant. I want to be pregnant too.
Yeah, she looks glowing. You know, but actually she'll forget about it in a few weeks when she's back in the swing of work. And
possibly. Yeah. Possibly.
Have you ever like been on holiday or whatever, or been and staying with people for a while, come home and been like, right, I'm changing the house. You know, I want to redecorate, or such a body's got it like this. You know, you're just sort of in a different surrounding for a while.
Yeah.
And then you sort of start looking at yours a bit differently, but you soon forget it, don't you?
Oh God, yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, could be that, couldn't it? Yeah. Yes. And then the last comment I've got is from Tweety Tie on Twitter, who is quoting Levi saying, I only just got a divorce. And Tweety Tie says, that's crazy work. I'm sorry. Now you want to move slow? You were still sleeping in your wife's bed when you started a relationship with Mac, but now you want to move slow.
Oh, God. Tweety Tie never forgets.
Never forgets, doll. Yeah. It's a good point, though, isn't it? Like, he's like, whoa, calm down, put the brakes on, you know. And he rushed the relationship, and he's got the divorce, and all these, you know, celebrating last week, taking the champagne out the fridge. I'm divorced. I'm finally free. But whoa, future, the future. No. Calm down, girl. Don't know. It's an interesting point. It's not one I had thought of myself, but
yeah.
I
mean, my gut tells me he doesn't want it. He's not considered it as yet at this stage. He's got a good job, pays well, good life, does what he wants when he wants. Does he really want to be answering to a kid?
That's true. Can you seriously? Can you see Mac and Levi with a baby?
Personally, no. I really can't. They're too. She's her. Even her image is like business. You know, even her wardrobe is like power woman. Pow, pow, pow. You know,
power woman with a flat stomach showing, though, isn't it? It's very suits with a crop top.
Yeah. Teeny tiny shorts.
Yes.
Tailored because she's business.
Yeah. It's a look. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I can't imagine
high heels.
Can you imagine it with a bump? I cannot.
No. Trotting round in her heels. No. I can't. But even personality wise, I just can't see it. She's a career woman. She's business Mac. She's a woman who knows. Now, look, that's not to say that you can't have both, or a woman can't change her mind, or anything like that. But right now, I'm struggling to get on board with that image.
I can't see a baby fitting in with their current lifestyle, because the idea of them waking up in the middle of the night to a screaming baby in the house that they live in with his sister and her boyfriend, it just feels the wrong environment for a child.
And he's the same. He's a career man. He's on call. He could be called away to a different hospital because, you know, he's the only one in the area that does this any surgery,
anything medical.
You know, like they just don't. It just doesn't feel. It would be a huge leap.
Please take the time to like, subscribe, and review Coastal News wherever you source your podcasts, and ensure you never miss an episode.